Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas.
You know how some ideas just stick? Like a catchy song you just can't get out of your head, right? Or a phrase that suddenly everyone is using. Or, of course, a viral video that just takes over the internet for a week. Well, today, we're going to dive into the powerful and honestly often misunderstood science of memetics to figure out exactly why some concepts go viral.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to go back, way back, to the revolutionary idea that started it all in the 1970s. Because, before meme meant funny pictures of cats on the internet, it had a totally different and frankly a much bigger meaning.
So the term itself was coined to define a meme as a unit of culture. Just think of it like a cultural building block, It could be anything, a catchy tune, a new fashion trend, even a style of architecture. The key was that it's passed from person to person just through simple imitation.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The core theory was that memes are basically selfish replicators, and they operate just like our genes do. I mean, think about it. Genes use our bodies to copy themselves, right? Well, in the exact same way, memes were thought to use our minds as hosts to compete, to spread, and to build the very fabric of our culture. Wild, right?
And this just shows you how broad the original concept really was. I mean, we're talking way beyond jokes here. This covered everything, from pop songs and catchphrases to entire fashion movements and even architectural styles. They were all seen as these little cultural units just replicating from one mind to another.
Okay, but if this idea sounds so intuitive, so powerful, what happened? Why did it fall out of favor? How did it end up getting labeled by a lot of people in the scientific community as, well, pseudoscience?
Well, as it turns out, the theory ran into some major roadblocks. It faced some heavy criticism from the scientific community. We're talking 3 big critical flaws that, back then, it just couldn't shake.
All right, so problem number 1. The logic was kind of circular. A successful meme was just a meme that was successful. See the problem? If an idea spread, it was a good meme. If it died out, it was a bad one. That makes it almost impossible to test or prove wrong, and that's a huge no-no for any solid scientific theory.
Then there was the second big issue. The original theory basically treated our minds like empty buckets, right? Just passive hosts where memes could fight it out. But that completely ignores, well, us. It ignores all the active, complex thinking we do to interpret ideas, change them, and consciously decide if we even want to share them. We're not just mindless copy machines, after all.
And the final nail in the coffin, at least back then? A lot of cultural anthropologists basically said, hey, this isn't really new. They argued that they'd already been studying how culture and ideas spread for decades. So to them, Memetics just felt like a catchy new label slapped onto concepts they were already very familiar with.
But here's the thing. That wasn't the end of the story, not by a long shot. While the original theory kind of hit a wall, a new, much more nuanced approach has come along and completely rebooted the entire concept for the 21st century.
And this new theory is built on a really critical shift in thinking. So the old idea saw memes as perfect photocopies, right? Just getting passed from person to person. But the new idea, it recognizes that we don't just copy ideas. No, we actively rebuild them in our own minds every single time we hear one and every single time we share one.
So that brings up a huge question, right? If every single one of us is individually rebuilding ideas from scratch, how on earth do they end up looking so similar across millions of people? Well, the answer is fascinating. It lies in something called cognitive attractors.
I want you to think of these attractors like mental gravity wells. Seriously, they're these powerful, pre-existing concepts and biases we all have in our minds. And what they do is they pull all our scattered individual interpretations of an idea together into one common, stable, and recognizable shape.
So here's the crucial takeaway. The most successful, the most viral ideas aren't just the ones that are easy to copy. They're the ones that are incredibly easy for our brains to rebuild. Why? Because they perfectly latch onto these powerful attractors that are already sitting there in our minds.
So, what are these attractors in real life? Well, they're things our minds are already kind of biased towards. Think about classic archetypes like the hero or the wise old mentor, or stereotypes in common behavioral scripts we all recognize. When a brand new idea taps into one of those, boom, it's so much more likely to be rebuilt accurately and then spread like absolute wildfire.
This whole thing is actually pretty similar to the psychological idea of archetypes, Those deep-seated universal patterns that kind of shape how we see the world. But here's the difference. While archetypes are super stable, passed down over generations, these cognitive attractors can be a lot more fluid. They tap into the immediate biases of our reconstructive memory right here and now.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. Why does any of this matter? This new understanding is way more than just some dusty academic theory. Why should you, or any of us, care about how ideas get rebuilt in our minds?
Well, for one, it completely reframes how we think about the spread of culture. It's not a simple virus infecting our brains, not at all. Instead, it's this incredibly complex, constant process of reconstruction, and it's all shaped by the shared cognitive landscape of all of our minds.
And when you understand that, it gives us this powerful new tool. It lets us analyze what you could call humanity's second great information channel. The first is our genes, right? Well, channel number 2 is culture, and it operates right alongside our genes, shaping who we are and what we believe, but at a speed that genetics could never, ever match.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating and maybe slightly unsettling question for our hyper-connected world. If ideas are constantly being rebuilt by millions of different minds, who's the real author of anything? Are any of us? Or are we all just co-authors, constantly rewriting the ongoing story of our culture?